Can you guys hear me? It's Marty speaking. This is designed to be a simplified way of understanding sort of a future state around certain actors and responsibility. It's designed to just center us around some concepts in the environment, okay? The distribution team would start with a purchase order. And in theory, your supplier, which would be the factory, would provide some form of acknowledgement. I received your purchase order and you're aligned. They typically would be starting to do manufacturing on that purchase order. At some point later in the process, the distribution team will create a distribution plan, which represents a ship schedule against that purchase order. Ideally, what happens is your supplier will deliver on that distribution plan, and we would expect to have a document or a set of documents that very clearly indicate a shipping manifest relative to what we ask them to distribute, but which actually tells us exactly what was in that they actually did produce and deliver. At that point, once you have that shipping manifest, the distribution team would actually create an item receipt record to say, I actually did receive this. Now, receive this becomes a little blurry only because what's blurry about it is that you didn't actually receive it. It may be sitting on a dock someplace. We may have transferred property rights, but the point of the matter is you're trying to take the supplier's shipping manifest and you're trying to say, I'm recording what they're saying they actually did. And there could be imbalances to what they really did, but we're going to use their documents at this point and say it's true. Now, as soon as you get that shipping manifest, the supplier does work with the carriers to put things in freight containers or on airplanes to move the goods ultimately to a 3PL. Now the carrier is involved. And when they do that freight container, there oftentimes will be a vessel, a ship, that can hold multiple freight containers at the same time. When we move into this world where the carrier is involved with the freight containers and the ships, we're very much into a in-transit space. At that point, the distribution team over here creates a transfer order, which effectively is trying to move goods from one location inside NetSuite ultimately to the 3PL, and allows for tracking for all the in-transit goods as they're moving on the water or on an airplane. As they do this transfer order, they end up creating this thing called an item fulfillment, which just basically says, move it out of one location, and it sits there waiting while it's moved out of one location, waiting for the 3PL to acknowledge an item receipt. Typically, your 3PL will open the container that arrived over here, unpack it, count it, and put it away. As they count it and put it away, they will indicate in some kind of document that indicates to us they indeed did receive it. And at that point, right, you get an item receipt record. In theory, that same item receipt record, right, probably would be the same record that we would have the distribution team put in place, but that could be a NetSuite record. So my picture is not perfect. But so there's actually two item receipt flows that are going on between what we're talking about here. Now, in the meantime, the supplier with its shipping manifest should supply a factory invoice. Ideally, the factory invoice reflects a request for monies for what they shipped. Okay. If you have that factory invoice and the shipping manifest, our item receipts, and our PO, in theory, accounting can come down and do its three-way match to try and connect up the world and reconcile it. Now I'm going to take you into a more ideal flow. It's more complex.